Hi, my name is Kian Kalfan, and I am a grade 10 student at the Aga Khan Academy, Nairobi. For my personal project, I had three goals. One, to train students between the ages of 10 and 17 on how to play squash. Number two, to design fun and engaging lessons. And number three, to create a good nutrition plan to stay healthy and have an active mind. I chose this product because I'm very enthusiastic about this sport and I wanted to share my knowledge with others. Being an active player, I also realized that I wanted to share a nutrition plan as this is an essential element to staying fit and healthy. I have created a video that highlights my progress and also documents the steps I have taken to achieve this goal. The first thing I did was interview a nutritionist.
My name is Maggie,
Okay.
and, and I'm a nutritionist by profession.
What is a balanced diet?
So a balanced diet is a diet that consists of a variety of different type of foods that helps to provide nutrients that are essential for
Okay.
good health. And nutrition is the process in which the body is able to obtain and utilize the nutrients that it has gotten from food. Macronutrients are the ones that the body needs them in large quantities, such as carbohydrates, we have proteins, and the nutrients are the ones that the body do not really need in large quantities. It's very essential, but it needs in small bits, but the small bits go a long way. Those ones are things like vitamins and vitamins. So those ones and minerals such as magnesium, we have selenium, such minerals. For an active teenager playing racket sports, what
Yeah.
is the foods to eat?
Yeah.
So one, we have protein. So proteins are basically good for muscle building, muscle repair. Number two, they need carbohydrates. Basically, they need to be very active in the game for better performance. Vegetables. So the work of the fruits and the vegetables, number one, it gives you the nutrients, and also they're antioxidants. They can help in repair of tissues here and there. Number four is to hydrate. Lots of fluids.
How much of each food should one eat to keep healthy?
The carbohydrates should be between 40 to 45 to 65% of the total calories. That is equivalent to about 225 to 325 grams. For protein should not exceed 30%. So it should be between 10% and 30% of the total calories that you take in a day. So for a girl, a teenage girl, should be about 36 grams in a serving, and a teenage boy should be 52. Then we have the fats. The fats we normally recommend that is taken in moderation.
Okay.
So fats between 25 and 30%. We also have other minerals. One of the most important is calcium. See, calcium is good for the bones and the teeth. Approximately 1,300 milligrams of maybe calcium per day. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is also essential for bones. And apart from that, D also helps calcium to absorb. And another very important mineral that a plant needs is iron. Iron is very important because iron helps deliver oxygen to various parts of the various organs of the body. We encourage that you take 8 to 11 milligrams of iron per day.
Okay, this is the most important thing in squash, okay? The way you hold the racket. So the way I was taught is that you just go as if you're shaking someone's hand, okay? So like this. And this finger is like a hook. So it just hooks around like that. Another important thing in squash is volleyball. So what you do, you stand behind the tee line and you just hit the ball on the wall as many times as you can, like that. Okay? Once you can do about 150 of those, you stay in the same place and you hold this. Okay? Then once you get a little bit more advanced, you do as many hard drives as you can. So like that. 50 of those, you're good. Then once you master the forehand, you can start mastering the backhand. So you do the same things and you just keep going. So another important thing in squash is that you must warm up before you play. Okay? So this is one of the ways you can warm up. You just run 10 rounds at your fastest speed. Okay, go. Yeah. I then interviewed a physiotherapist. Hi, I have with me here Hafiz Tobani.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hafiz, as Kian said. By profession, I'm a physiotherapist, and I'm looking forward to have a discussion with Kian.
Why is it important to stretch before playing, and what are some examples of them?
Sports are physically demanding activities, and the most important thing with stretching before playing any sport is about injury prevention. We want to prevent strains and sprains, which are the medical term for muscle and tendon tears. So before playing any sport, muscles in general need to be stretched and loosened up so that during an aggressive sport activity where you have to do a fast movement, they don't tear on you. The next thing, critical thing, just in general about pre-sport or pre-activity stretching, or any stretching in general, is to hold the stretch. That's very important. And I'll very quickly explain why it's critical to hold a stretch.
Yes, please.
For a period of time. Some people give a set number and say, hold it for 2 minutes. I like to say you hold it for a period of time that you're comfortable and just a few seconds past that. But I would suggest at least 30 seconds to a minute to hold it. When the muscles feel that they're being overstretched, to protect themselves from tearing apart, they tighten up. So because you're pushing the muscle too much and the muscle fights you and pulls you back because it doesn't want to tear. And then you get the tear when you push even harder past that. So the muscle has a built-in protective mechanism. So when you stretch, if you just go and stretch for, say, 2 seconds and you just bend down and think that you've stretched, the muscle feels the stretch, but then tightens up to protect itself. And over time, as you hold the stretch longer, the muscle loosens up. But some of the basic stretches are touching your toes. Other basic stretches are stretching your quadriceps muscles, which are the muscles in the front of your thigh. You lift up your leg like this. You see me stretch my quadriceps muscles? I'm stretching the front part of my quadriceps. And again, the key is to hold it, right?
Yes.
Other muscles that you can stretch are, like, for example, your hamstring muscles, where you sit on the floor, where you're sitting on the floor, and then you try and reach forward and touch your toes while sitting on the floor. Okay. Another good exercise, just even reaching your hands above your head. The key again is to hold it and stretch as far as it can go. And what this does is not only stretches your upper body, but it also stretches your ribs and the muscles in between the ribs, which then allow you to breathe better. So after playing sports, these are the same exercises. After you've played the sports, it's very important to stretch for recovery. What you don't want to do is play the sport and then your muscles stay in a tight or kind of like, and I can describe it very quickly, but what happens is when you're playing a sport, there's two main things that happen, is that the muscles are put under a lot of demand. And the muscle fibers are made of tissue, just like any other tissue, like the skin, like your, it's a tissue, right?
Yeah.
And it's prone to injuries. Now, when you play aggressive sports, especially, these muscles, and it's perfectly normal, contracting and tightening, contracting and stretching, they cause micro tears, which is very normal. That happens to everybody. And it's a normal process.
Yeah.
But what happens is that after playing the sport, you need them to recover and get ready for the next time you play the sport. So stretching allows the muscles to just loosen up, and anything that's tight allows it to stretch back to its optimal position.
How can you strengthen these muscles?
So that's a really good question, because to prevent injury and also to speed up your recovery so you're ready for the next time you play. So the simplest way to stretch your core muscles are planks. But I think the planks are one of the best core exercises because they work your abdominal muscles and also tie in your lower body and your upper body, because now you're supporting your weight on your elbows. So you need your shoulder strength as well, and you're on your toes as well, keeping your pelvis straight above the ground. You're on your toes as well. So that works your hamstrings, your quadriceps muscles. It pretty much works almost every muscle in your body. The other exercise is sit-ups. If done correctly, sit-ups are a good exercise, but you have to watch how you bend your neck when you're doing sit-ups. You want your neck straight, because that can lead to other issues. But if done correctly, sit-ups are another good exercise for your abdominal muscles, the rectus abdominis and oblique muscles, which are part of the core muscles. The other more advanced core stability exercises are using simple equipment. You don't need to get too fancy, but like a Swiss ball. I don't know if you've seen these big round balls that they have in the gyms that are inflatable, that you can sit on and do a lot of these exercises. So even just balancing exercises, or even just sitting on a ball during the day, if you have, let's say, an hour of homework, an hour of work at home to do, or even in the office if you're working, sitting on those balls, because what it does is it forces you, when you sit on a chair, your muscles go slack. You slouch, and it's easy for the muscles to relax because you have a backrest. They're not working. But when you sit on a ball, now the ball, if you're not using your muscles, you're just going to go, you're going to fall over and hit your head on the ground. The body doesn't want that. So it uses all its muscles to keep you upright. and that activates the muscles basically. For lower body exercises, I would say that squats are a fantastic exercise for your quadricep muscles. And you can do these with weight or without weight against the wall. You can do it against the wall. You can do it with a ball behind you as well too, right? Another fantastic exercise that works your quadriceps, your hamstrings, and your calf muscles, your gastrocnemius muscle it's called, is lunges, where you lunge forward with one leg, bending your knee, and then step back. Always watch your posture, keeping up upright. Lunge forward, and you can either come back to the same position or you can move lunge. It's called lunge walking, short distances. And then you can do that with or without weights in your hand. Anytime you add more weight, you strengthen the muscles. And that is a very important thing you just brought up, because the muscles have what we call muscle memory. And not only can they go back and remember after you haven't played a sport for a long time, riding a bicycle. You've not ridden a bicycle for 10 years, but you can get on a bicycle after 10 years and you can ride it. It takes a while to get used to it, but the muscles have a memory. So they draw on that memory, but also if you continue to do the same exercise, the muscle fibers, while they strengthen, they get used to it. They don't grow any more than that, what that exercise provides. By adding weight, you're constantly challenging the muscle. And when you challenge the muscle, you make it stronger. So it's one thing to do an exercise repeatedly, but to really strengthen your muscle, you want to challenge it. And that's what creates more strength in the muscles. So by adding weight or making the surface unstable or doing things a little bit longer, always challenges the muscles to get them stronger. Simple exercise for the upper body, again, I think is push-ups. Push-ups are fantastic, easy exercise to do. You can do them either on the ground, you can do them against the wall if the ground is too hard. There's lots of ways you can do push-ups. And then you can progress that. If you have a bar, that you can access, like monkey bars in a playground, you can do pull-ups. Pull-ups are a fantastic exercise to work on your upper body as well too. And it also works on your arm muscles as well. Push-ups and pull-ups, which are critical for playing
the core muscles as well, right?
Sorry?
And the core muscles as well.
And it works on the core muscles. Absolutely right. So the good thing with an activity like a push-up or a lunge, simple exercises, but what they do is they activate groups of muscles working together. And that's another good point you raised. It activates the core muscle, it activates this muscle, that muscle, because when we're playing sports, muscles don't act individually. A bicep muscle in your arm will not act alone. It requires the shoulder muscle, the back muscle, the leg muscles, all working together, coordinating how they function. The last exercise, I think, for squash, and again, any sport, is general fitness. And I call them lung exercises. Is because when you're playing a sport, it requires you to perform an activity at a cardiovascular cardiovascular is again a medical term for intense workout that uses your heart, that gets your heart pumping, right? Okay. And don't forget, the heart is a muscle as well, and that muscle also needs to be exercised. But the cardiovascular system, cardio is heart, vascular is the blood system, but also involves the lungs as well too. And the lungs are controlled by your ribs and the muscles around your ribs to stretch it out and take in more air. So the stronger your heart is, the stronger your intercostal muscles or the rib muscles are, the more air you're pulling in and the more blood and therefore oxygen can be pumped around to provide you the energy to perform your activity on a longer basis. So cardiovascular fitness, I think, is another critical component of exercises, strengthening exercises for sport, and especially squash, because there's a lot of start-stop movement and it's very cardiovascular intensive. And the best exercise for cardiovascular training, I think, is running. Even running 5 kilometers to 10 kilometers, even if you do it once a week, twice a week, but adding running into your training for sport, and especially squash, will make you not only a fitter player, but it'll also make you a smarter player. And the reason I say a smarter player is because the fitter you are, the better decision making you will have. Because in sport and in any competition, you obviously want to play better than the person you're playing against, right? But if you're tired, the brain doesn't make decisions as quickly as when it's sharp and fit and not tired. So the less fatigue you get, the better decisions you can make with ball placement, with positioning as well too. And you win competitions that way, right? So those are the things, those are the exercises I think are the strengthening exercises that are the most important.
Okay, thank you so much for coming to help me. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Kian.
Okay, bye.
I wish you all the best.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so to do a serve in squash, what you have to do is throw the ball up in the air and hit it over the second red line. But it has to be below that third line. And it should come behind this line here. Okay?
So if I'm serving, you should go behind.
Exactly. Okay, try Nina. Now Ayan, you try. So basically, one of the drills you can do to improve your hand-eye coordination is just simply hitting the ball up on your racket. And then first you start with, say, 100, and then you keep going until you draw.
Then once you do that, you can start taking it a little more complicated and start doing this. This improves your wrist work, and that is very essential in squash.
Hi Elizabeth, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you, Ken?
I'm good. So I know you're a squash coach, and
Yes.
as for my personal projects, I'm doing a project about squash, and I just
Okay.
wanted to ask a few questions. What are the different drills that help you to become a better player?
Okay. In squash, we have different mini drills. I'll just name a few.
Okay.
Okay, there's a straight drive where the player doesn't need to have a partner to do it. The straight drive gives a player the chance to build strength and coordination through repetition and accuracy by varying your aim. And then for the straight drive, for accuracy, the player can place a target and vary the height and strength of your drive. Then the second drill, I'll say the sidewall drive. This is a fantastic drill for building technique. Then we have the volley, where the player is not allowed to let the ball bounce. If the ball will still up. Then we have the drop. The player can do a drop. This is a short drill game. Then we also have the post drive or the post cross box. This drill can be done with two players. One player will do a post from the back of the court. Then the second player can do a forehand drive or a backhand drive or even do a cross court alternatively. Then we also have the ghosting. Okay, ghosting drills in squash are a way to improve the game of a player by concentrating on patterns and movements that replicate real game situations. And the player also can perform the ghosting drills without a ball, and they can also use their racket. Yeah, those are just a few of the drills I can name, but there are many. There are many.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, next.
Is there any advice you can give to upcoming players about squash?
What I can advise them is that squash is a very entertaining game. It's a very good game,
Yes.
and they just need at least three. Okay, I can just give them 3 points what to do. They can do solo practice, which is a very good technique. With squash is a very elite racket sport, and players don't need a partner to have a good productive training session. So getting a coach on your own to really groove in a certain short practice a specific technique is something that can benefit players of all levels.
Yeah.
Then the second one is the player should not try and play different players. The third one is give it focus on your fitness.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi Kalika, how are you?
Hi, Kian. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. So I just wanted to ask a few questions about squash
Okay.
because I know you're a professional squash player. How much do you train?
Well, it varies, but on average, I train about maybe 4 to 5 times a week. But I don't just play squash. I kind of mix up with other sports like tennis or badminton. Sometimes I go to the gym or I swim. So it's not just squash all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you plan your training?
Usually I plan my training around what I feel I need to improve. So after each training session, I play a game and I see what my strengths and weaknesses are. So for the next session, I know to start with my weaknesses. So say, for example, in the game the day before, my length wasn't very deep. So the next day I'll start with length drill and trying to hit it very deep.
Okay. Um, how do you balance training, school, and nutrition?
Um, Balancing training with school can be very difficult because there are some weeks where I have so many due dates for assignments, so it's quite hard to find time to train. So during those weeks, I'd say I don't train so much. And then with regards to nutrition, um, I have to eat what's available in the school cafeteria. And sometimes, like with cravings, I'm craving chocolate or something, and I know I'm not supposed to have it, but I really want it. But I do try to balance my meals out as much as I can.
What are your achievements as a squash player?
I think my best achievements are becoming Kenya #1 at the age of 11, and then taking part in 3 Commonwealth Games after that. So the first one in 2010 when I was 12, the next one in 2014 when I was 16, and the last one in 2018 when I was 18.
Oh wow.
20, sorry, yeah. Yeah.
While you're training, what are some of the drills you do?
I tend to mix it up. So I do like the standard drills of, length drill, behind the line, nick drill. Obviously, I like playing my nicks. And then I mix it up with some condition games. So if I'm playing someone who's not as good as me, but I want to get a game out of it, I allow them to play anywhere they want. And then I only have a condition of playing either straight drop or straight drive or straight drop and cross court. So I mix it up depending on who I'm training with.
Oh, yes. And final question. What advice can you give to an upcoming player?
I think it's really simple, just keep training, don't give up, always stay focused, and try and balance everything out. Don't tire yourself out. Take breaks, do something else, like do sometimes tennis or swimming, and then go to squash. Just change it up sometimes so you don't get bored.
Thanks.
You're
Thank
welcome. I
you
hope that
for
answers all your
meeting me.
questions. You're welcome.
Which is when it's this side wall, then it comes to hit the front wall, then it's this side wall, and then it comes around here. Okay? And then who wants to drive? Down that. Okay? Nice. Nice. Good shots. Very good. You were on this and switch. So it's supposed to be set for 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. And then I will put it up this way. And then you'll go sit again. Squash is considered an endurance sport, not only because it makes you fitter, but also because it requires a great deal of intellectual and mental stimulation. By correlation, if one is fitter, then they can perform better in their academic pursuits, as they tend to be more energized, focused, and prepared for better decision making. They generally also have an increased productive life expectancy, better quality of life, and a general improvement of body health. Another important aspect of squash is the cool down. The cool down is basically just letting your muscles relax after playing a sport. So the first thing you're going to do is hold your leg up to your bum and you just hold it there for about 10 seconds. Okay, now you can take the other leg. And since you're going to be using your hands a lot, you take one hand across and you pull it around with the other arm. Yeah, like that. Now hold it for a bit. Now let them relax. Do the other side. Yeah, let them relax. Another stretch is you take your right leg out and you lean on it. Yeah, hold that for a bit. Now that stretches the hip flexor muscles. Okay, now stand up. Stretch the other side. The same thing. Yeah. Again, this stretches the same muscle but on the other leg. Yeah, stand up. Okay. Okay, and then if you really feel like you can also add some other cooldowns, but for me this is what I do.
Hi.
So Nazi, you were a participant in my project.
Hi.
This is Arman, one of the participants in my personal project, and I just want to ask him a few questions about how he found it. Project. So how did you find the sessions?
So I actually found them super helpful. I mean, I already knew how to play squash, but still, I found them super helpful. I learned about some new rules that I didn't know. We did some exercises that could really help in the court, so I found them super helpful.
Okay, were they fun?
Yeah, they were really, really fun because it wasn't like a typical session where everyone was just bored and listening to someone. You had various activities that helped me get interested in the sport. You taught me the various rules, which were really good. Yes.
Oh, that's good. And do you recommend these sessions to other people who don't know how to play squash or know how to play squash?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Especially those who don't know how to play squash, because I already played squash, but I learned a lot of new things. So I think it was very effective, and I think anyone who's interested or wants to play squash should attend the session.
Okay, and the last question is, what do you think I could improve on for further sessions if I would do?
So if you are doing online sessions, I'd recommend that you have more physical activities. So maybe you could show me different types of, like the class, different types of footwork, um, maybe how you have to improve your hand coordination or just general fitness.
Okay,
Yeah, but otherwise, I really enjoyed the sessions.
okay. Thank you for speaking, and thank you for
No
also
worries.
participating in the project. And see you soon.
All right.
Thank you so much for talking with me, and I'll see you soon. And I would also really like to thank you for attending the sessions that I have made.
Yeah, I really enjoyed them.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It is with immense satisfaction that I can conclude that my project has helped a few students become fitter, healthier, and more importantly, experience the uniqueness and mindful game of squash. I would like to thank everyone who participated and helped me throughout the course of my project.